So Johnny Depp was back in the news again this weekend after doing an interview about kind of his own take on what he's been through in the last few years with the trials against Amber Heard. And largely what you can take away from that interview is how Depp just feels so sorry for himself at the moment because he doesn't go out anymore and I think that was the main thing. He doesn't go out anymore and he is upset with three people who did the dirty on him by really talking about his terrible behavior. So you can read this interview if you want, but the headlines are that he has a go at being woke, as in he thinks that, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of that, and that he's a crash test dummy for the Me Too movement. He also suggests that he was manipulated by Amber Heard, that she kind of had him in her sights as a kind of potential mark, that he was the victim and that she was the sort of the seducer, if you will, in this scenario. And it just, I mean, I just want to kind of emphasize this because there's so much debate about this whole case and whether he's innocent or not, and back and forth and la la la. And I find it super irritating because he has given us all of the evidence and fodder that we would need to make an assessment that, yeah, he is pretty much an abuser. He is somebody who has no regard for other people. He is a manipulator. He expects loyalty from people as a sort of prerequisite for a relationship but for him loyalty is something a bit more skewed. Loyalty is more about you have to follow the rules. You have to do what I say. You have to kind of do what's within the realms of what's acceptable to me, but I will break all the boundaries that you think are relevant because I am just that guy. I'll just do me. Thanks very much. And I'll just carry on doing it. Um, I've said before, but I think it's a really important point that Amber Heard was 22 when they met. He was 45. They met on the set of the Rum Diaries, where he fancies himself as, is it Hunter S. Thompson? One of these other kind of um, alcoholic, troubled souls, this sort of like artistic creative who just was a sort of, what do they call them? Hellraiser. Like in the good old days with Oliver Reed and men that would just drink and treat women like rubbish. And he really idolised Humphrey Bogart for some reason. I mean, I don't really see the appeal, but really because Humphrey Bogart managed to, how do I put it, seduce Lauren Bacall when she was 19 and he was in his 40s, which is, it's just gross. It's just really gross. And in 2009, Johnny Depp thought that that was cool, that that was something to aspire to. And we're also supposed to forget how he has literally tried to go out with every woman that was of the moment between the years of, I don't know, when did Nightmare on Elm Street come out? 85? Like between 1985 and now. That's been his aim. From Vanessa Paradis to Kate Moss to Winona Ryder, even Jennifer Grey when she was in Dirty Dancing. I mean, it's like that was his mission. It was about being seen with the woman who is just so hot right now. He's really obviously kind of very shallow. He lacks empathy. Again, this is somebody that when they're asked, do you feel sorry for Amber because people said awful things like they wanted to put her baby in a microwave? And his response is that she basically tried to con him. If you can't have any empathy for another human being going through that, and it's also somebody that you were married to once, who you got up with in the morning and you would see them at breakfast, You know, you'd feel sorry for somebody like that if you just saw that, if you just knew of them, or you know, in your community, you'd be like, oh, that's horrible. But somebody that you used to live with, that you were intimate with, that you had a relationship with, that's not right. You know, that's just not right. So, however you want to cut it, if you want to kind of keep saying that Johnny Depp is not an abuser because you don't believe he committed any violent offences, then you don't know what abuse means. And if you want, you can look it up. It's on the government website. You know, you can find it literally anywhere, because the bottom line is it's not just about physical abuse. And I can't believe I'm still having this conversation 20 years later, that people still don't understand that abuse is not just physical. But just for the record, it's not just physical. Okay, so that's my take on Johnny Depp. If you agree, hit like, share, and follow for more content.